Hey everyone, and welcome back to Lovecraft Country by The Verdict's In. I'm your host, Nicole.
I'm Gary.
And today we are here to talk about Lovecraft Country, episode 10, the season, maybe series, I don't know, finale.
I think it's just a season finale.
The season finale?
Yeah.
Entitled Full Circle?
I think the series is going to continue. Not this series, not with them, but maybe.
Yeah, but maybe with Dee and her mom or something else.
Maybe. Yeah, they're going to change it up, but the series will continue.
Yeah, possibly.
And you know what? If it don't, so what?
Yeah.
You know, I'm the type of person that like this. Like to get that just one hitter quitter.
I'm okay with one hitter quitters. Or like what Fargo does. I mean, there's been like 3, or they're now in the 4th season of Fargo. I haven't started watching it, but each season is a different cast, different story, different timeline. So Lovecraft Country, we can show it go back farther in time from the beginning, or we can even see what they're doing modern, or we even see what they're doing in the 80s or something, you know?
Right. Or American Horror Story.
Yeah, like American Horror Story as well.
Same cast, different storyline.
Right. So, Gary, what did you think of the episode?
All right, on the first watch, this felt rushed. I wasn't as into it. I was thinking like, man, this was a perfect season and it ended like this. But second watch, I mean, I loved it. And I thought about it. I mean, the last episode of anything, the finale of anything, especially when people think it's a series finale, the only way it's going to end perfectly is if it ends perfectly. Like you get to see everybody survive, Tick survive, the girl get her arm back.
Right.
Just everything ends perfectly, which that's not realistic. So I was all right with the way it ended. I thought it was a damn good season, and it was a damn good episode.
All right. I was there with you upon first watch, actually. So when we watched it last night, Sunday night, I honestly was sort of disappointed. I was like, that felt so rushed. Everything was moving so quickly. Boom, boom, boom. Like they were trying to put so much in there. And I just didn't feel satisfied. And I was like, well, you know, Nicole, you enjoyed the first 9 episodes. Not everything can be perfect. But then
everything
we watched
could
it.
Be your perfect.
My perfect. But then we watched it a second time today. And we got to slow it down. We paused it here and there. We kind of discussed it and said, wait, hold on. What's happening here? And then I got to understand it a little bit better. And I'm still not going to say I loved it, but I definitely liked it more than I did the first time.
It was more enjoyable the second watch.
All right, so let's get straight into it. We see they rush Dee home into the house, and Tick starts to spell. And if you think about the last 24 hours of everything that's happened, I mean, not even just 24, 40 hours, like, so much has happened in which I can't even remember what happened before the Emmett Till funeral, but just thinking of Emmett Till's funeral, then finding Dee, you know, under a curse spell or being cursed, then them going back to 1921, and then now boom, coming here and trying to save Dee. It's like so much has happened in the last 24 hours for them.
Right.
It's crazy.
It is crazy.
And I can't even think what happened prior to that. I'm only thinking of that. Like, the Emmett Till is what's kind of was the center of it, is what I'm thinking, because that's when Dee got cursed. But, I mean, thinking back to just
well, you
prior
gotta think
to that.
about just Dee.
Yeah.
Just Dee alone, you know, like you said, the Emmett Till, her mother left.
Her father just died
Her father just died.
Prior.
But just in the, like, let's say 24, 48 hours, well, I can't say her mother left.
Yeah, I feel like her
28,
mom
48,
was gone maybe 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah, she was gone for a while because she missed the funeral.
Yeah. But I don't think she was gone super long. I think it wouldn't have been considered super long if everything hadn't happened.
But let's be real, though. Anything that's scary or anything that you're scared of, fear, makes everything seem so much longer. Like, think about that butt whipping you thinking about on the way home from school after you act up. Well, that's what she was doing when she was running from them two dancers.
Yeah. No, every second was scary.
Every second was scary because them girls would come out of nowhere. And then finally, you know, just stand up and want to fight them. And now you had to trap yourself in a room. And then you get held down and they attack you.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't imagine it. I can't imagine it.
I can't either. And I, not sort of getting off subject, but I just, when you were talking about how long 30 seconds last and everything like that, and I'm thinking about the George Floyd murder. And I know I went to a protest like right after that happened, and like a lot of protests nationwide, everyone kneeled for those, I think the 8 minutes, I forgot, 8 minutes and some change, right? And I remember kneeling, and I always knew 8 minutes is a long ass time for someone to have their knee on your neck. But I remember when we were kneeling, in the middle of our kneeling, I remember thinking like, why are we kneeling here? Like, this is, I'm getting tired. And then I remember what we were kneeling for. And it just made it even worse, because it's like, if I'm sitting here tired, kneeling for just a few minutes, like, imagine his life just sitting there, and how many seconds 8 minutes, over 8 minutes is. And we were just talking about what 30 seconds of someone chasing you or someone beating you or something happening. It just, and I'm not trying to get off subject, but when you just are talking about 30 seconds, I just once again thought of the tragedy that happened, and how sick and horrible it was. And yeah, so RIP to George Floyd and everybody else who's died from police brutality and racism. And yes, in a way it's relevant to the show, because you know, we have racism police in the show. So here we are. So anywho, going back to the episode though, we see them doing the spell on D, and like immediately after Tick starts the spell, we see him pass out.
Well, the book opens.
And then Montrose is like, that's your birthmark. And then Tick passes out, and then Letty goes and checks on him, and she passes out. And they both end up in 2 different rooms, like the red room.
Well, they end up in 2 different places.
Yeah, actually, yeah, you're right. 2 different places.
Yeah.
But both with that red hue.
D actually ends up in his family's home.
Mm-hmm.
And he ends up in the master's house.
Yes, Letty ended up in his family home.
Right.
He ends up in the master's house, and he sees his aunt, or not his aunt, but his ancestor, Hannah.
Right, his great grandmother.
Right.
Or just great grandmother. I don't know.
Because then Letty, she ends up in the family home, and she meets the same lady she talked to in the last episode, in the Rewind 1921.
Which is his grandmother.
Yeah.
What is her name?
I didn't catch her name. Hold on. Okay, so it looks like her name is Hattie, played by Regina Taylor. And she's been in so many different things. The Good Fight, The Blacklist, Elementary, The Unit, Grey's Anatomy.
Oh, she's a great actress.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I immediately recognized her. The Negotiator.
Yeah.
She's on The Negotiator. Yeah, I think that's where I really recognized her.
And you know what's so crazy about it? She's only been in 2 episodes, and she made such an impact.
Mm-hmm. She's one of those actresses that do. She is. So she tells Letty, like, hey, I need you to fix what, or kind of like fix what Hannah's mistake. Don't make the same mistake Hannah made. And she even mentions later on, or like a few minutes later, that Hannah killed herself. You know? Or no, Hannah actually mentions to Tick that she killed herself.
Yeah. Hannah killed herself.
Yeah. Because she's like, I hid magic from the people I hid our family from the people who knew magic. Like, I didn't let anyone discover our family.
Right. She did a spell that hid their blood.
Right.
Hid their bloodline.
But then the spell ended up almost being like a curse, or it felt like a hell to her, because it was constant fire even after death. And then it was not until she kind of learned before closing that book for good.
Yeah. Well, let's just say kill herself. She sacrificed herself. Her death, I think her sacrifice was what bound the spell. What kept the book closed and what kept her family safe.
Okay. And then she tells Tick, you know, you're going to save them all. So I like that, because upon second watch, I realized what she really truly meant. Like, he was going to save black people in a way, because at least save them from being able to have magic used against them from white people. At least that's the way I took it.
Yeah, I think so. Like, not just save him and his immediate family, but save everyone.
Right. And then now he's in a room, and it's his mom. His mom is there, and like, he's so happy and emotional to see her. But he tells her, like, he kind of implies that Hannah told him he's going to have to die. And he says, I don't want to die. And she tells him, like, you know what? Everyone has a purpose. Or what is your purpose if you're walking to the altar without sacrificing yourself?
Well, I don't think he just heard it from Hannah. He's been hearing it for the longest.
Yeah. I mean, Jaha is the one that first told him.
Right. He read the book.
Right.
You know, his son said he died. He
all
sacrificed
signs
himself.
point to him dying.
Right.
Even though he told Montrose, hey, that's just one story. That's just one universe. That's just one Earth. On Earth 1, that's where I die. Doesn't mean I die on every Earth.
Yeah. He told him it's not going to happen.
Yeah. Even though he didn't believe it. We find out later.
And Monstros, I finally, it's like these last 2 episodes kind of bounded everything together.
Full circle.
It is a full circle. Like Montrose, you could tell that, or you could understand why he was doing the crazy stuff he was doing. Why he killed the lady. What was the lady name they killed?
Shit.
Well, you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Why he killed her. Why he burned all the papers. He wanted to save Tick.
This is what he's been doing. Because he knew all along this was Tick's destiny or whatever.
He knew. That's why Tick didn't know much about his mother. But he knew about her.
Yeah.
And that's, that brings me to the thing that, did his mother sacrifice herself? Was she another sacrifice? Because it never says how she dies.
It didn't.
We just learned that everybody else along the way sacrificed himself for some reason, which we see he sacrificed himself at the end. Mm-hmm. So I wonder, was there another spell that had to be done and his mother sacrificed herself to do it? And Monstros knew about it. And he's like, I already lost one person. I'm not about to lose another. Well, he lost 2 people by then.
Right. Yeah, because later on in the episode, Montrose tells Letty and them, tells both of them, like, just leave. Leave here. Christina won't be able to find you guys, and just go live your life. Forget all this. And Tick said, no, this is what's going to protect our family. This is what I'm doing it for. And, like, he's, like, seeming to come around.
Because he knows they're never safe.
Right. Right.
As long as he's alive, Christina will find them or someone else.
Mm-hmm. Or his son 20, 30 years from now.
Yeah.
But going back to the moment with him and his mom, she calls him a hero. She says, you're a hero, and Hannah's spell will change everything. So my only hope, since you mentioning how did the mom die, did she die by sacrificing herself? And we hear, Hannah killed herself sacrificing herself, and Tick sort of did the same way. I mean, he presented himself knowing that he was going to die. But is this really...
sort of, he did the same thing.
Yes, but is this considered a sacrifice if every generation keeps repeating it? Now, will Tick's son now have to repeat this sacrifice to save his son? And like everyone dies at their 30s.
I don't think so. I think the ending kind of closed that chapter or closed any question on that, but we'll get there.
Okay. Well, they come back and they start this spell to help Dee, and she wakes up, but her left arm is still dead. It's still a skeleton. Dead. So what's up with that?
I just think it was too long.
Okay. Because the guy did say she's dead already. So
right.
That arm was dead. That's what happened. It was too long, too late.
Yeah, I think they were a little too late to save every part of her.
Okay.
Which I'm glad that it wasn't just a perfect resurrection.
Right. And her reaction was priceless. I mean, imagine waking up and seeing your arm like that. How do you run away from your own arm? Because that's what I want to do. I'm running away. Get it off of me. It's your arm. Get that shit off of me then. I'm scared.
And it's waking up, thinking she's waking up from a dream. Mm-hmm. Think that she's finally escaping. Because, when you wake up from a dream, you think you're escaping whatever you were dreaming about.
Right.
Especially if your dream was like a horrible dream, a scary dream. Mm-hmm. But you up now and you see that, damn, my arm is still dead, so I must still be dreaming.
Yeah.
Or this is real.
So we see Tick and Letty, they prep the scene for the spell, and now Titus appears in the middle of the spell, and then Hannah appears, and they fight a little. Tick tries to stab him, he blocks and leaves, yada yada. And then that's when Titus pops up in front of Christina, who does crash. And for a moment there, it did seem like Christina so cared, because the moment she got up, she went and made sure Ruby was okay.
Christina did care.
Yeah, she did care.
Like, she flew out the window.
Right. And then she's the one that ran.
But she gonna run at Ruby? Are you okay?
Yeah. But right when Titus is being, his racist self, saying like those people.
He said those niggers.
Yeah.
He said, those niggers got the
book up. Yeah. And he's brought back into the spell where Tick cuts a piece of his skin off, which just looked.
But this shows you how powerful Titus is.
Yeah. Because they said he's not able to leave this circle, but he was able to.
I was like, yo, let me out of this bitch.
Yeah. I'm out of here.
I'm out of here.
And then we see Tick's mom and his grandma disappear. Well, Letty and them have to like give a spell to say, okay, we release you guys. Thanks for helping us, but you guys got to go now in order to complete the spell. And Letty says, hey, that's supposed to be the easy part. But we see how hard that was.
But, I love the moment where they popped back or they got them back and they had to get the help. They had to get the help from the ancestors.
It kind of reminds me, and don't sue me, but it reminds me of Harry Potter. Because if you watch the Harry Potter movies, this is somewhat what happens, spoiler alert, like in which Harry Potter, I think it was the fourth one, Goblet of Fire, and like he had to get back to the portal, and his mom and dad and like they come and save him, like the ghost of his mom and dad come and save him, and Cedric Diggory's dad comes and saves him and says, "Get my son's body back," and they help Harry.
Man, you find a way to bring Harry Potter to everything.
Yo.
No matter what Tyler Perry movies, no matter what we're watching, you bring up Harry Potter.
It's related to everything.
Or Twilight.
It's a full circle. It's almost Harry Potter season. I usually watch Harry Potter during the fall winter season. So I'll probably start the movies next month. Can't wait for the 20th millionth time. All right, so we see Dee. She's mad at her mom. She's mostly mad at leaving her. And Hippolyta says, well, I can be Orethia Blue now. And Dee's like, that's just all fantasy. Like, that's fake, da-da-da.
Well, not I can be, I am.
I am, yeah. And she's like, I went on adventures not even your father could imagine. And I feel Dee, because Dee was like, man, I want to hear this shit. I got a skeleton arm. What the fuck are you talking about? You got blue hair. I don't want to hear this. So, like, I don't really like how Hippolyta approached the subject. Like, girl, let me tell you all my adventures. No, Mom, you can't tell me your adventures. I have a skeleton for an arm.
Dude, I know you're upset, but guess what I did?
Guess what I did? You won't even believe the adventure I went on. Like, yes, bitch, you came back with blue hair. I can believe it. So, and Hippolyta is rocking that blue hair. Like, I just absolutely love it.
Yeah, she is rocking it.
Yeah, really nice on her. All right, so Letty says, hey, Ruby can get close to Christina, but Montrose is like, hell no, she too close. So it's like they kind of know that Christina and Ruby have a deep connection of some sorts.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really love there.
Yeah.
And everybody can see it. I mean, Ruby moved in with her. Right. You done left your family and moved in with this chick.
Now, okay, I was wrong last week when I was like, I thought we were really going to see Ruby with red hair. Because remember, she put the lady's thing on and said, I always imagine not have red hair if I was white. Which is like kind of weird. Like, that's something you thought about. I don't know, But the thing I didn't like about this scene, and maybe this is part of what made me sort of not enjoy the episode completely, was that Christina, here they are talking about Ruby can get close to Christina. But then Christina literally walks in and there's like 5 of them. And then she's like, let me get that book. I'll leave you alone. Like, no way, Jose. I'm like, what the fuck? Christina's right here. Like, take her down. There's 5 of you guys.
You're close to her right now.
You're close to her right now. So I just did like.
They could have did something right at that moment.
Right then and there. And then Hippolyta talking about, I can name myself any damn thing. Then do it, Hippolyta. Like, what the fuck?
Name yourself an ass kicker.
Yeah, name yourself an ass kicker.
Oh, she is an ass kicker, though.
Yeah.
We got to see that.
Ass. But so I guess I just did not like this whole scene because I'm like, the whole time they're talking to Christina.
Yeah,
and
the
Christina
whole time
walking in like she's just a bad bitch and all, and I'm like,
they're talking about who's gonna get close to her,
right? Who can get close to
Christina
her?
Pop on them, up on them like every other day.
Yeah, it's like one of those bullies that be like, "Who wants some?" and no one say anything. People were talking shit before the bully got there, and then now the bully's there. No one's talking shit anymore.
Oh shit! So she's the white Debo.
Yes, she's the Debo. Yes. So Christina's mad and she takes Letty's invulnerability spell. I mean, I guess in a way, yes, she does have magic, but somebody could have knocked her out easily. And then if you knocked her from behind, she wouldn't be able to talk her magic because she's knocked out.
Yeah.
You know?
They could have knocked her out, or they could have did the I guess, deflect, like look over there and somebody stuck a needle in her, got blood or something. Mm-hmm. They could have done something, cut her hair or something.
Well, we see them go back home, and we got some black neighbors that have moved in across the street. So this one's white.
Made it. We are in the house now.
Right. Once white racist neighborhood that said get out of town, blah blah blah, all that bullshit. Fuck you. This is our place now.
Yeah.
We're gonna take this whole thing.
I guess they moved out once the gas explosion happened.
Yeah, once the gas explosion, or white flight. It's a real thing. So
it is.
Yeah, but I like seeing that. Like, go on. Neighbors look nice. They look peaceful. They waving and stuff. So it's all good.
It's like black people have this special bond. Like people always talk about like black violence or whatever. But it's we have a special bond. Like as soon as we see each other, like we had a little nod at "I see you."
They talked about it on
or that eye contact. Like I see you, brother.
Hey, how you doing?
You know what I'm saying? I mean, we just had that bond where, if we're the only two in a room, we already communicated.
Right.
We already spoke with our eyes and facial expressions.
Yes. I know in workplaces I have been where black people are and we can just look at each other and it's like we already know. You ain't gotta say shit. We already know. All right, well, Tick's toxic ass, he goes to meet Jaha. I'm probably saying her name wrong, but it's just going to be Jaha. And it is funny because right before he gets there, some white guy's coming up to her and he's doing the white guy thing. He's doing the Timothy thing. And that's it. That whole, you're exotic. Like, something about you is exotic. And that's what they say. That I don't even, that's what, that's a saying that they do. And she goes, would you be willing to die to fuck me? Yeah. And that's his exit. He's like, we're getting out of this bullshit. You know what? He's like, I don't know if that's some freaky talk, but I ain't down with that type of freaky talk. So,
right. This shit got a package.
It's some freaky talk he wasn't down for.
I ain't trying to figure that out. But I think her name is Jaha, right?
Jaha. Yeah, it's like Jaha. J-A and then dash A-H. So yeah. Jaha, but I don't know.
Not ha, but ah.
Ah, Jaha.
Jaha. Or Jaya.
Jaya. Okay. She know what we talking about. All right. So Tick comes and I can never tell if Tick is being sincere because we kind of talked about Tick. He's the what they say in Insecure. You're a fuckboy who thinks they're a good dude. Because that's what Tick is. Tick act like he's a good guy, but he really is not. So like, I'm telling you, like he's so manipulative. So like when he's apologizing, I'm like, okay, what's your end game, Tick? What you about to ask her for? Like, I don't really believe that you're sorry. Like, what do you really want? What are you really doing here? Is what at least I was thinking.
And you know what's so crazy? Because you might be right.
Yeah.
Because when we first met Tick, I thought like, oh, this is a good dude.
Yeah, I thought he was a good dude.
Then we saw his little backstory, and then we saw how he treated her last episode.
Right.
Then we saw how he almost who did he beat up? Oh, he beat up his father.
Beat up his daddy.
Yeah, daddy. Yeah, we don't got no DNA test. But
he said, hey, what we had was real. And he even holds her hand. Like, I just don't believe him. I don't believe, like, what is this, him making amends before he dies? Or was he wanting something? Because she obviously stayed and ended up helping. So, I mean, maybe he knew that, hey, I don't know. I was going to say, maybe he knew that she had to be there when he died because she saw it, but that's not how it works. She sees it no matter if she's there or not there. But I don't know. I just didn't trust his words.
I think he needed extra hands. He needed more people. People that actually believed in magic. Because you can't just go, like the black neighbors that just moved in.
Yeah.
You can't just go to them like, yo,
need help.
You can say we need help, but you can't tell them what you need. You can't tell them it's for magic.
We don't need y'all to do this spell with us.
Like,
chant these words. Like, black folks like, I ain't saying those devil words.
For real.
That's what Letty said. This is devil's doing.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Well, then he's kind of like Letty, like kind of like what Ruby said. Like, now you're using me because you're only coming back not because you're truly sorry. You might be partially sorry, but you're actually only coming back because you need my help.
Could be. Or he could have been honest. I mean, it could have been real. I think that he wanted to deny her because maybe he didn't want to think that she was what she was, or he wanted to forget what happened with them.
Right. Maybe.
But then again, no. Because, like Letty said, You've been lying to me this whole time. You knew there was stuff out there. You knew there was magic out there. We've been through all this, and not at one point did you tell me that this chick went inside your body, held you up by her tentacles, and slung you across the room.
Right. Well, Letty is at the cemetery, and Ruby comes as well, and she admits, you know what, I was in jail, and that's why I missed our mom's funeral. Yet she also admits that she was happy that she missed it. And that's when Ruby starts saying, like, well, you know what? Yeah, I didn't want to go either, but that's our mom. She's still our blood. And I really like what Letty said, because she's like, that's not enough. Like, I've learned that family is not an obligation, but it's an acceptance and a willingness to sacrifice everything that there is necessary in order to protect it.
And I was fine with this scene because we already know their backstory. We already know that Letty, she's an activist. She was traveling, singing, trying to fight the power, doing sit-ins and everything. Mm-hmm. Just trying to be the best her she could be. And we know that their mother chose men over them.
Right.
It was always or they call it a revolving door of men coming in and out. The mother leaving for weeks, weekends at a time. They don't know where they're going to get their next meal from because the mother's not there. So, they all had to grow up fast. And I'm kind of shocked that their relationship is not better, because usually when you have the oldest daughter that basically raised the rest of the kids, the younger ones look at her like a mother figure. But in this case, it just didn't happen there.
Well, okay, I like this scene for a few reasons, because, we always hear that saying, blood is thicker than water. And I think they both see that that's not always necessarily true. Like, Ruby felt that, Letty wasn't there for her after everything she's done for Letty. And she found her family in Christina, someone that was going to love her and that didn't ask for much or anything like that.
And Christina?
Well, that's what she thought she found it in. Whereas Letty...
she fell in love with the D.
Letty's, she's realizing that, hey, my mom was wrong and this and that. And she did run off. And maybe it wasn't Ruby that she was trying to run away from, and she didn't want to hurt Ruby necessarily, but she wanted away from that life that she grew up with. And with doing so, she did find love in people that weren't necessarily her blood, such as Tick and Montrose and everybody else. Like, she's so close with them, and there's a bond there that blood won't be able to break. So right. I got kind of what they both were saying, whereas Ruby was like, damn, I am your blood, and I did so much for you. You're obligated to me. And Letty is kind of like, damn, you are my blood, but I'm not obligated to you. I don't want to be obligated to me. I want to be able to do something because I want to do it, not because of an obligation.
Yeah. And I mean, it goes back to what I was saying. We said basically the same thing. And maybe Ruby feels like Letty doesn't show enough appreciation.
Right.
Gratitude. Like, basically, I raised you.
Yeah.
And the first chance you got, like you said, she ran off.
Yeah.
And didn't even come back. And maybe it's not about her coming back for the mother's funeral.
It's about coming back and supporting.
In general.
Or coming back and supporting Ruby. Or Ruby feels like she sacrificed so much, but Letty's the one that got to run off and live her life. And
sometimes the older sister feel that way, or the older sibling feels that way.
Yeah. And you got to remember, when the episode started...
I'm going to be real. It's mostly the older sister. The women. When you have sons, and that's why we don't give...
They had a brother.
Yeah, that's why we don't give women enough credit, because they do have to do so much. They do sacrifice a lot. Mm-hmm. And they sacrifice a lot at a young age. And usually, she probably took care of the household. And the brother, it seemed like the brother was genuinely mad about her not coming. And maybe he saw something different in the mother that they saw, because he was able to do his own thing.
So he can't understand, wait, why didn't you do the necessary thing that a woman was supposed to do? You're running off, living your life, running the streets, doing whatever you want, when you should be at home. And he might not even realize his way of thinking is bad, because I'm pretty sure he loves his sister. But at the same time, he doesn't understand. Like, you're trying to do all the things that I did. You can't do that. That's not a woman's place.
Right.
So I really like that scene there. And she goes, hey, you're right, though. We do need to learn magic. And she needs a part of Christina's body. Christina just came to our shop. We could have got it ourselves, but we didn't, because we feel that you have the greater access to get it. She didn't say all that. And
we know you sleeping with her.
Yeah, we know you sleeping with her. So we need you to get this for us. And that's when Ruby's like, you know what? You always want something from me. That's the only time we're ever sisters is when you want something. And whether it's a friend or a family member, I feel like everyone probably can relate if you ever felt like you've been used by someone, or if like that person that calls you, have you ever had a friend or somebody call you and they checking them on you and you're like, wow, I haven't heard from you in so long. And then they get to the point of they're really calling. Like, yeah. So I need to borrow some money. And then it just feels like all those, hey, how's your life been going? All that was just bullshit.
Yeah, then they get to the sad part.
Yeah, the sad part.
They ask you how you was doing. Like, oh, yeah, I'm glad you're doing good.
So I want to say I'm about to get kicked out if I don't get, $100 real quick.
Oh, they start off like this, though, man. They were like, oh, me, how I'm doing? Man, it's just been bad over here. Things ain't been going so good over here.
Me, and that's why I never sugarcoat. If I ever call somebody for a favor, I get straight to it. And some people are like, why are you straight to it? Because I don't have time for like faking the funk. And of course, not saying I don't care how people are feeling, but if I'm calling for a specific favor, I call, hey, how you doing? Good. So I need this favor. It's within like the first 30 seconds of that conversation. I don't bullshit. I don't beat around the bush and do all this other stuff.
But see, you a salesperson.
Yeah.
You're a salesperson.
I go into clothes all the time.
Yeah, always looking for the clothes.
Always looking for the clothes. I don't got time.
Hey, how you doing? Before they answer, you already asked for your favor.
So, good. So, let me tell you what I need there.
Yeah. I feel you, because sometimes I don't have time for the little sad story.
Yeah. Sometimes when people tell me this, I'm like, okay, get to it. What's the sad story? Go on and tell me.
I read through my mama sick. My mama just died.
That's sick.
Like, I ain't hear about that. No, but people come at you like that.
Yeah.
They say, they try to get down, dig deep into your heart before they ask for that favor.
Your mom died like 5 years ago. Wasn't it like 10 years ago?
I mean,
No, it's sick.
They try to dig in deep.
Yeah.
Like, I know once I hit them with this, they can't say no.
Right.
And you don't want to feel used, so you can't give them the whole thing. Like, I don't even got I don't got the whole 3. I got 20.
I got 20. Don't matter what you got. I ain't got it.
I ain't even got it. I got the 20.
So there's one thing here that we don't ever really get to hear what Letty says to Ruby, because after she starts walking away, she goes, hey, there's something else you need to know. So what is it that you think she told Ruby that made Ruby ultimately, of course, change her mind? Because Ruby didn't tell her she changed her mind, but we know Ruby did, because you know how the episode goes.
Maybe she was having a son.
Well, she already knew that she was pregnant. You think it mattered if it was a boy or a girl?
Yes. It doesn't matter if it was a boy or a girl.
Well, Ruby knew she was pregnant. Right?
Well, she probably was letting her know, like, if things don't work with Tick, she's going to come for my child. She's going to come for me next. This is what you do. She's trying to find a blood relative. She doesn't know about my son yet. So if everything don't work out with Tick, if she don't get enough blood from him, you don't think she's not going to come for me? Yeah. Or my child? Your nephew?
Okay, that could be a good one. I can't think of anything else really that would have convinced her or that was good enough to make her change her mind. And it was clear, even whatever she told her, then she still never said, yes, I'll do it. Because remember later on when she's looking at the fake Ruby and she goes, yeah, when you finally said you would help me at the cemetery, and then Ruby goes, yeah, I told you I would. And that's when I can tell Letty knows that's not the real Ruby.
Yeah, well, I think Letty knew before she asked the question.
Yeah, but she was confirming.
She was confirming it. Yeah, because Rudy said something like, yeah, what if she do it early? Oh, it has to be done at high moon or something. Mm-hmm. It was something that she said that Ruby, that Ruby shouldn't have known.
Mm-hmm. All right, so the next scene we get Hippolyta, and she's telling Dee, she passes Dee a comic book that she drew. It has it has her character in there, and Dee goes, how did you learn how to draw like that? Because it has Erythea blue and everything like that, and Dee knows she didn't draw this. And then she goes, an artist named Afu taught me. And last night when the episode aired, I was on Twitter, and I saw that is a real artist, Afu Richardson. AFUA Richardson, and that's her name on Twitter as well, if you guys want to follow her. But it looks like she's an artist and that she did some work on Lovecraft Country. And
Wow.
Yeah, so she actually got to work on it, and she was just saying that like when they actually mentioned her name on the show, that it really meant a lot to her, and so it looks like she did some sketching and stuff like that, some of the artwork that you see on the show.
Some of the comics and everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's dope.
Yep. Shout out to her, and go follow her if you guys enjoyed the work on the series that was from her, Afu Richardson. So she goes, an artist named Afu taught me, and I can teach you too, because I know you can draw again. And once again, I'm not judging Hippolyta, but I don't know if this is the necessarily same advice I would have given my daughter, because she goes, hey, this is just a moment. It will pass. I'm like, what the fuck? I mean, yes,
that was a real advice.
It is real advice. But like, imagine your world is coming crushing down on you, and someone tells you like your pain will pass.
But she didn't say it like that. She just explained it better. She said what she learned on her journey is that time is time.
Yeah, time is time. It keeps moving.
It keeps moving. It goes. You know. And that's where the saying comes from. This too shall pass. Yeah.
And it takes time to heal.
Takes time to heal. Yeah. There's a lot of them.
All of those sayings are true, but it doesn't make
I can do this time standing on my head.
All of those sayings are true, but it doesn't make it feel better. Like if you're going through your worst moment in life and someone goes like, this will pass. Like, fuck you. I know it will eventually pass. And maybe at the time when you're feeling bad, you're not thinking this will pass. Imagine if you lose a parent, a sibling, a child, and someone says, hey, this will pass.
But I think we already spoke about this and saying that how people relate to things. It's hard to relate to things you're not going through. Like, yeah, you done been through some sad shit, but your arm didn't die.
Right.
Like she lost her husband. So, I mean, and she's probably speaking from experience, not really thinking about it. Like she just lost George.
Yeah, and that's why I feel like she's speaking more like this Hippolyta. I don't know if she's the same I mean, she's not. She's not the exact same Hippolyta.
She knows a lot more.
And she knows a lot more. She knows, so she, not saying she doesn't have human emotions, she still does, but she's so smart and she's been through so much. She's able to handle it better. Like you think of it how a child handles something when something bad happens to him, and how you handle it differently as an adult. She's on that next level where she handles it as an ultra adult, a wise adult. So not saying the pain's not there. It's just that like, yeah, my lollipop fell. A kid would cry. An adult would be like, shit, my lollipop fell. Her, she's like, it's okay. You will get another lollipop. Like she's on a whole different level, and that's why I feel like she doesn't have that emotional. She's just not the same person, and nothing's wrong with it. It's just it's a different person. She's just a different Hippolyta at this point. All right, so we'll keep going here. We get Ruby, and she meets with Christina, and they kind of have a moment, and we see they're about to hook up as Ruby and Christina for the first time, and she pretty much tells her like, you can be my family. But there was a moment there where even I think Christina saw it, where you could tell that Ruby was going to betray her, possibly.
Yeah. Ruby was playing her.
Yeah.
But Ruby said, how did you get my blood, or how did you get that out of me?
Yeah. And then she goes, oh, well, I remember now.
Well, I remember now. And I think she thought, well, through sex.
Yeah.
You know, we slept together. That's how she got all my cells and minerals and everything she got from me, saliva. So I think Ruby just went in just to play her, just to get everything from her. Maybe put her, well, I guess she did put her to sleep, or she thought she put her to sleep.
Yeah.
Put her to sleep. She put her to bed, or thought she put her to bed, and went for the steal.
Yeah.
And that's sad. It's sad that Ruby had to. R.I.P. Ruby.
R.I.P. Ruby, because we thought you were going to be a turncoat, and you weren't. Not fully. And hopefully we'll see more. Oh, Ruby, actually, the lady that plays Ruby is on a new one of the, like, you know, there's a lot of scary movies coming out, and I saw her on a trailer for a new scary movie. I don't do scary movies or scary shows. Like, this is my breaking point is Lovecraft here, so I didn't even really watch the trailer. I was just like, hey, that's Ruby, and I was like, oh, let me turn this off because it's too scary. So if you want to look her up, her name, I don't want to butcher it, but it's Wunmi Mosaku, That's W U.
Yeah, you butchered it. Yeah, we got to pause when saying somebody's name.
I may be pronouncing it right. You don't know.
Pronounce every syllable.
Yeah, well, I'm going to spell it out.
You butchered it.
So W-U-N is in Nancy, M is in Mary, I. And then Musaku is M as in Mary, O, S is in Sam, A, K, and then U. So if you want to see what movie it is, just look her up, and her IMDb page will pretty much show.
Let me see her name. You know how black people spell their name.
It's Wunmi Musaku.
It's probably Tamika. Tamika. Where's it at? Oh,
right
I see
here.
it. See? Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's Wunmi Musaku. Don't judge.
I mean, I don't think it's that, but it's close.
Something. I'm close. So anyway, she's getting work already. So that's the power of HBO. And you get on HBO and you just get work after that. That's your NFL, that's your NBA, that's your ticket into other things. Say you've been on HBO.
HBO is big, but was she in some other stuff before that?
You know what? Let's just look her up real quick.
Giving no damn HBO credit for her talent.
I wasn't giving HBO credit for her talent. Maybe it's Wound Me, but hold on.
You can stop now. You spelled it out.
Okay, let's see what she's been in. She's from Nigeria.
Whoa.
Whoop, whoop. She was in Luther, TV show Luther, 4 episodes there. On the Edge. I saw something that was like a big show. Oh, The End of the Effing World? 5 episodes. Jeez, I watched The End of the Effing World. I gotta go back and watch it. Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, the 2016 one. She was also in Black Mirror. Jeez. Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice.
We have to go back and find that Black Mirror episode.
Yeah, definitely got to find that Black Mirror episode. She was in Law and Order. And then some more recent stuff. Lovecraft Country, of course. Goldfish. Something called Tempo, which looks like it was a mini-series. And then something called Run and On the Edge. So a few other things I don't recognize. But Black Mirror and The End of the Effing World, I gotta see who she was. I seen that show. Yeah, I gotta see that. I gotta rewatch it now.
Well, she working.
Yeah, she's definitely working. So good for her. And then the new movie, while I'm on her IMDb page, let's just see what that is. It is called His House, it looks like, because that's the only thing that looks scary that is recent from 2020. But it's called His House. So watch it there. I don't do scary, but yeah, shout out to her because she did a really good job this season. She, didn't know where she was going to end up. If she was good, she was bad, or whatever. So, and then we get a quick scene of Letty and Tick at the church, and they kind of just have a moment, and it looks like either she convinced Tick to get baptized, or they're both getting baptized because she's like, "Thanks for doing this for me. It's gonna make me feel better." And she also says, I've been so busy chasing faith when it has been in me all along. I should have been discovering it in myself, because that's where he is. Like, that's where God is. He's in all of us, and you don't have to like go to one place to find it. Like, he's a party. So I kind of liked her kind of, discovering that about herself.
Yeah. Discover her spirituality.
Yeah. So they all prepare to leave, like literally in that car. I mean, it could fit a lot of people, surprisingly. And that's when,
like, how many people? Like 10?
No, there wasn't that many. There was 3 in the front, 3 in the back, and then poor D had to like sit in the trunk or whatever you would call it.
Turn into a clown car.
Yeah, it was definitely a clown car.
Like, everybody's not gonna fit in there,
right? And it's so, like, it just kind of was like nice, because when I see Ruby's in the car, most people would be like, we don't got no room. But like, obviously they just let her come. Like, most people like, we ain't got no room. I'm sorry, the car is full. But like, they made a way to make her fit. So
yeah.
Should we call her Fake Ruby or Ruby the Fake, or what should we call her? Ruby Christina?
Ruby Light.
Ruby Light. All right, this is Ruby Light. So Ruby Light, she comes there and she goes, "Hey, I have the Christina's blood or whatever,"
which is probably Ruby's blood.
Yeah, you're right. And then they have a nice car ride, and it was just like fun sing-alongs. Everyone knows the road trip vibe. So,
and I love the song that they were singing, the Shaboom, "Life Could Be a Dream." But one thing about that song, and this is a fun fact, not really fun, but it's a fun fact that, the coasters, the song was made in some by the coasters. But later on, and when I say later on, I mean probably like a week later, the song was sung again and probably made mainstream by a group called the Crew Cuts.
Oh.
And this right here remind me of like a Cadillac Records or a Dream Girls, and even Why Do Fools Fall in Love.
Right.
When you see that, we make songs, but in order for it to go mainstream or pop, they sell our songs to other artists, white artists, and they have to sing the song just to make it big or make it go. And a lot of times the black artists, we don't find out until our song's on the radio and it's not us.
Yeah.
And that's
the
feeling,
black culture in general.
Right. And that's the feeling I got, when I kind of looked into it and saw, okay, this group made it, but this group made it popular.
Right. Right.
I'm like, wow. And remember, usually it's the record label that was fucking over their artists. But we see in Dream Girl, he was messing over them himself. Mm-hmm. He was selling their songs to other artists and, and blaming it on the record label.
Right.
So this has been going on for years. And, I guess this little scene with them singing along and having a good time, made me want to go and check on the song and see what it was about. And boom.
Now, were they singing the white version or the black version?
The black version.
Okay. Well, in that case, let's give a shout out to Whitney Houston for "I Will Always Love You," because didn't that start off as a Dolly Parton song? And she made it, and she took that song, and you wouldn't even know. Most people don't even know that's not Whitney Houston original.
They know Dolly Parton. That's a Whitney Houston song.
That's a Whitney Houston.
Like I'm Every Woman. That's a Whitney Houston song.
Yeah.
Yo, no matter what song Whitney Houston touched, she made it hers.
That's like one person you don't want to like do a cover to your song. Like, please don't do a cover to my song. Well, you not anymore. But like, you wouldn't want Whitney to cover your song. Like, nah. I know it's like an honor, but please don't. You're gonna embarrass me.
Right.
So we see Trick. He is a trick. No, I'm just joking. All right, Tick.
Why are you so mad at Tick? You call him a trick?
No, that was a mistake, and I just ran with it. But we see.
Yo, you were really feeling that. You were feeling that deep down inside. You said that with your soul.
Oh gosh, no. We see Tick drink Christina's blood, and then he like takes a bite of Titus's meat. And I know Montrose was just there, like, just eat and swallow. Just don't even think about it. Like, just do it. It just reminds you of those shows like the Scared Straight or whatever that show. I forgot what this show called, but where they used to eat gross stuff. Fear Factor.
Fear Factor. Yeah.
So, look, I just can't. That's where I draw the line. All right, and then we see Tick goes off, and then the white townspeople like come, and I'm like, are these people ghosts? Are these real people? They kind of come and like usher him in, and that's the last we see him before we see him again. And then we get the Letty and Ruby kind of discovering everything, and they're preparing the spell. And Ruby Light says, despite everything, the trip here was nice, and it kind of like showed me, how like what it is to be a part of a family and everything like that.
Yeah.
And I kind of didn't like this scene either. Only because, like, when they're fighting, and it's like, what the hell? Are you guys John Wick? Like, the fighting was, like, mad serious. It was like, and then Ruby coming up, like, she's almost, Ruby Light is, like, almost, like, fell down the dungeon thing, and then she's able to, like, lift herself up. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, why didn't they just have them fight, like, regular people? Like, unless somehow Christina now has all these mad skills, and it was just crazy. Like, the fighting technique to me was
the blocking.
It was too professional,
Yeah, the 2-piece to the face.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, are you guys professional fighters? Like, it should have been more scratching, pulling, like wrestling. People when they're fighting, it's a lot of wrestling, and because they're not skilled, they end up on the floor very.
You're
fast.
Right. They were a little too skilled at fighting.
Too skilled.
I still enjoyed the scene though.
Yeah,
it was still pretty good. So
Ruby Light, she wins the fight and kills Letty. Did you think Letty was dead for real, for real?
No, I didn't think she was until I thought she was. Okay. If that make any sense.
Yeah.
When Tick started crying, then I'm like, oh man, baby Letty is dead. But when she first fell, I just thought maybe she passed out, when she hit her head on the ground.
Yeah, it was a fart fall, though.
That was a fart fall. I mean, we seen that fall happen on Game of Thrones. Could have paralyzed her.
Yeah. I was like, who? The little boy. Oh, Bran.
She could have became, what they call Bran at the end?
The king?
Bran, the
Bran,
cripple.
like the cripple. Name, bullshit name
right.
is that?
Bran, the cripple. King Bran, the cripple. Get
the
the fuck out of here.
Yeah, my first order king is for you to die. Call me cripple again. All right, so next we see Dee. She's waiting in the car, by herself. She hears some monsters. This is another scene I didn't like because it's like, okay, after everything that just happened to Dee, her being traumatized, who decided it was a good idea to leave her in the car, in the woods, at night, by herself? Like,
I think that was a good idea. Like, maybe it's too dangerous to come with us. So just stay here, lock the doors. Man, come on, man. Parents used to do it all the time.
But
they'll open the door for nobody
she just
but
went
me.
Through and in the woods by herself.
That's probably why it was best for her to stay in the car. She stayed in the car. She had a book to read.
I didn't like that. I mean, clearly she was able to handle herself, but honestly, I didn't like it. So we see Christina now, and I didn't like this either. I'm like, where's Christina? Okay, after all that beating up, and she obviously turned from Ruby to Christina, and then she comes like all clear and pretty hair, like completely clean, not like no blood or leftover,
nothing.
Ruby, nothing on her, a new outfit, everything,
nothing from the shed,
nothing. And she comes in and she tells Tick, hey, your plan might have worked if you would have left Ruby out of it. So she kind of sounds a little pissed off, and she just like spills his blood all over her and starts drinking his blood and performing the spell.
He was like, where's Letty?
Where's Letty?
You mean Letty the Crip? That's not funny.
Letty, first of her name. No.
First of her name. Firstborn. She's not here anymore.
Not here. All right, so then Letty comes up and like stabs Christina from the back and starts her own freaking spell. And then Christina's like, bitch, you too late. Ain't nothing happening. Christina's like, Letty,
I'm immortal.
You're too late.
You know what? You made a good point while we were watching. And you said that why did it make a difference that she was immortal?
Yeah.
Because she's already had the
invulnerability.
Right. But I think there's a difference. I think the immortal is she's alive forever. Like she's alive through the years. Probably remain the same age.
Okay, but Letty, like being invulnerable, you can eventually die from like old age or something.
Right, you still age.
Okay. But then like why does she want to be immortal so bad?
Isn't that what everybody want? Everybody want to win. Everybody want to be, especially when somebody tell you can't do something. Right. Like she's been told all her life that she can't be a part of it. And she felt like she was more powerful than all the men there. And she still couldn't be. So I think that she wanted to be invincible, immortal, just to say that she's the most powerful. I finally won. Everyone who said I couldn't do it is now dead.
Okay. Well, she comes up and stabs her, and we didn't mention, but at the same time that Ruby Light and Letty were fighting, we have Hippolyta and Jihad and Montrose also fighting the townspeople. I couldn't once again tell if they're really there, or if they ghost townspeople, whatever.
No, they're really there.
They're really there.
They really got their ass whooped.
Yeah, because they just came to fight. I'm like, okay, this is so weird. You guys just literally came to fight here. And
they outnumbered us. Look at me saying us like I'm part of it.
You are.
Like I'm there.
Are.
But yeah, they outnumbered us. But we did our dizzle. We did our thing. And you see Hippolyta, she turned into her character and started whooping ass, doing spin kicks, stabs, all type of stuff.
She can fight. We did see her fight.
Yeah. But I guess my only complaint about this scene is Monstros got knocked out too quick.
Yeah, because they brought him back on a stretcher.
They brought him back on a stretcher and a body cast. I mean, he didn't last too long in that fight.
Yeah.
And to be whooping ass all his life, and to be acting so tough, they kind of just, like, they just got him too quick. Everybody else, you see, they brought the ladies back unfazed.
Yeah.
And they had to cart this dude in. I'm like, oh, Lord. Come on now.
Well, Jiha, she's like, hey, I'm gonna go connect. I can get to the. She remembers what like her summon person, whatever demon person told her. Like, you got to go to the darkness. She's like, get me up to the stairs. I'm gonna go to darkness, and she like connects into Christina. Christina's like, what the fuck? And like, you start seeing all these flashes of Tick in his life, and we see him introducing Dee to the monsters. And like having him pet her, or her petting the monsters.
So the monster became a pet.
Yeah. And then him handing him a lot of the letter from Montrose. We see the fake Ruby healing Letty. So in a way, Christina did still keep her promise to Ruby.
And that's what I said. I think Christina really loved Ruby.
Yeah. I mean, that's why she was pissed. She's like, you guys would have got away with it if you had kept Ruby out of it. Like, so she was kind of mad that they involved Ruby.
Yeah. And you could tell the love was there. Like, after the accident she ran up there, you could tell that her words wasn't fake. She really had a thing for Ruby.
But I will say this, Christina's saying that once again, or it was actually earlier. I meant to bring it up, and we'll bring it up now because it's once again her making excuses. And like earlier in the episode when she comes to get the book from Tick, and she's like, no, you're in Montrose, like, you're trying to kill my son, and she's like, no, I don't want to kill your son. It's not personal, but I want to become immortal, and that's just like a consequence. That's just like a repercussion of what happens. It's an unfortunate, I don't know the word I'm looking for. What's a casualty? He's a casualty.
Yeah.
And I feel like, I'm not even going to say white people, just people in general do that a lot. Like, well, you did this to me. Well, it's not that I wanted to be late to your show. I just had something more important to do, so that's how I ended up being late to your show.
That sounds like a black people thing. Being late to your show.
Well, I was just using that as an example, but to me, this was such a, or even like rich people. It's like, well, it's not saying that we want you to go hungry.
That's CPT.
But in order for me to stay rich, you got to be poor.
Yeah, that made more sense.
Yeah. And it was just a lame excuse. I'm like, Christine, do you hear yourself when you're making up this excuse? So once again, she sounded that way, where she's super smart, but just has no common sense and no idea of the world around her or anything like that, or just doesn't want to.
Yeah, I don't want to say, or the word common sense is not right. She just
no empathy or sympathy.
Yeah, she's clueless.
Clueless
is a better word. Because, like, she has common sense, but she's clueless of what you're going through, what's really going on.
Right, because once again, it's not affecting her.
She lives in her bubble.
I got to get what I need, and unfortunately, this ends up happening to you. It's not that I want it to, but it ends up happening to you. And that's how I felt she was when when they're here at the spell, and she goes like, damn, y'all made me, pretty much like, y'all made me kill Ruby. I didn't want to, but I had to. I had no choice at this point. And it was once again not acknowledging her actions and what's the repercussions of her actions.
Right. And she kept trying to bring family into it. Mm-hmm. Blood. Like, yeah, me and you were related, Tick, but, I don't want to do this to you. Like you said, I don't want to do this to you, but this has to be done. It's not a personal thing, and that's what she kept trying to tell Tick. Like, none of this is personal.
Right.
And the crazy part about it is they could have worked together.
Yep.
If you think you're the last two of your bloodline, why not just join forces? But see,
she still felt she was better than him.
Right. All that hidden racism in you or prejudice in you, it was still there. Some people don't want to accept it. Like, oh, I don't see color. Mm-hmm. What the fuck? You see black and white?
Right. What do you see?
How you not see color? And that's what a lot of things she did, or a lot of stuff she said, had me feeling. Mm-hmm. Like, okay, she's one of those people that, yeah, it's not about I'm better than you. No, that's exactly what it's about. That's exactly what you think.
Right. Because you obviously felt your dream and your goal was more important than Tick's life, ultimately. So ultimately, you did think that you were better than him.
She wasn't trying to kill her daddy.
Yep. So Letty tells Christina that they bound because Christina's like, you locked me out of magic. And Letty's like, no, or even more than that. We bound every white person in this world from using magic. Magic is ours now. And then we hear Tick reading the letter, and he's forgiving to Montrose, I think, in more than maybe I would be.
Well, he got to see what Montrose been through.
Yeah.
And any human being would know that like me, you was laughing about not Blackish, but Black as Fuck.
Mm-hmm.
We was laughing because he said everything led back to slavery.
Right.
So everything that you do has come from somewhere.
Yeah.
Has come from a place. Like, you beating your kids. You didn't just wake up one day and start beating your kids.
Right.
You had to experience this. You have to think that it's okay. For one thing, you have to think you can get away with. I don't know. You just have to feel like you see it all the time. You see couples on the news. They done kids that went hungry. They done abused their kids, and they're sitting there looking like, oh, I didn't know I was doing anything wrong.
Right.
And maybe,
well, I don't think it's people don't think they do anything wrong, but I feel like sometimes we've mentioned before, and maybe not on this podcast, hurt people, and
right,
and they've been hurt before. Like, think of someone that's been sexually assaulted as a kid, and then not all the time, but you hear of those people now becoming pedophiles and as an adult, the assaulter. And it's like, you would think if something bad like that happened to you, you wouldn't be, it would make you not become that way. But in some ways it does. And that's why they keep saying history repeats itself. And I know some people don't want to hear about history, but not hearing about it doesn't make it go away. It even makes it more so to repeat it. And that's why it's good to keep having conversations about different things to make sure you don't repeat it. And sometimes, like with the kids, the pedophiles, maybe they didn't talk to anybody. Maybe they didn't tell anyone what happened to them. And maybe that's how they ended up becoming that way. Montrose, he never everyone knew what happened, but he never got that out.
Saw what happened.
Everyone saw what happened, but it's not like he ever went to therapy and got to talk about his feelings and what happened to him as a kid.
Yeah, he had to bottle it up.
Yeah, so he ended up doing the same thing that he knew was wrong. It hurt him, but he's now the one in power. So he was able to use that power over Tick.
And with him, I guess Tick seen that it was kind of different with him. That he wasn't beating Tick because he felt like he had the power now. He was beating Tick because he didn't want Tick to become what he was. He didn't want Tick to have to hide, who he was for the rest of his life. So if I don't want my son to be like me and hide who he is, I'm gonna just beat that out of him. And for some reason he thought he could just beat it out of him.
Yeah, I don't.
And the same thing his father thought. His father thought he could just beat that out of him.
Yeah. I don't want to say exactly why he beat Tick. There's probably several reasons why, but in a way, I guess I am going to say what I think he beat Tick. But in a way, I do feel he beat Tick because he felt he had the power now. He's no longer that scared little boy. Now he's the strong one.
I don't get that. I didn't get that. I think he beat Tick because he actually loved Tick and he didn't want Tick to go through what he went through. He wanted Tick to be tough. The person he realized that he wasn't growing up.
Well, as I said, Tick did forgive him in the letter, clearly, because he's like, you can now only be a grandfather to your grandson and be the father that you always wanted to be. So that kind of was loving, because it was like Montrose did want to be a dad. And that's why he did get with Tick's mom, because he did want to have a kid and be a dad.
Yeah.
And he probably did start off wanting to be different than his father and then ended up being the same way.
Being his father.
Yeah. And he says, teach him new ways of living, don't waste it. And then the final scene is...
Monstro is a smart person. He's a smart guy. Like, we saw that, he's going to research and study everything. Mm-hmm. Like, even the book that his grandson wrote. He read the whole book. He told him, you died in the book.
Right.
So he's a very smart individual. So there's a lot he could teach his grandson. There's just a lot of history he could teach his grandson. Like, I wish my grandparents sat down with me and just gave me a backstories, what it was, how. We sit down with them now, but when we sit down with them now, it's just been so long during that time period, and both of our grandparents have dementia. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of hard, when they're ready to talk about it, they can talk about it. Or sometimes, like, your grandmother just remember that stuff.
Yeah.
She remember what happened back then and little stories about, her past better than she could remember what's going on right now.
Right. All right, so the final scene is Dee. She comes back with her new pet monster, and she sees Christina there just spitting off little spells that's not going to work. And, I didn't know. I thought she said you never learn. But then you were like, no, she said they never learn.
Right. And that's why I said she closed the chapter. And she's right. She's a comic book writer, comic book reader, writer. So she know that why leave her alive?
Right. Come on. We all seen the movies, the TV shows. You never leave the villain alive.
They always come back. And they will always try to find a way.
Yeah. Just like I thought of on The Walking Dead, Rick. I don't take chances no more.
Right.
And every person they done fine, we'll let you villains go. They done come back. He's like, we got to kill these villains now.
They came back.
They will come back. So
I think that was a powerful scene.
Although,
in other words, she said,
how did Dee
never
get
learn.
There? How did, she already had a biotic arm now, and it was did time, or did she have a biotic arm in the car and we just didn't see her on the way there with the biotic arm? And
remember, she had her arm covered the whole time.
Yeah, but I kept seeing her little dead skeleton fingers.
No. Not after her mother said, hey, let me show you something. After that, you didn't.
Oh, yeah.
You didn't see her arm anymore.
Okay.
So I wonder what her mother showed. Did she take her in a room where there was a biotic arm?
Her mom must have took her on her own little adventure.
Yeah, did she take her back in time and take her to another?
Yeah, this will pass. See, let me go show you how quick it will pass.
Right.
Boom.
Yeah,
and that's why she seemed better.
They could have went on the trip.
Yeah.
And came
remember,
back.
200 years, it was only a few weeks. They could have been gone 20 years, which would have just been an hour or two. So, yeah, okay. Because I was also thinking, who let Dee get here by herself? But if her mom knows that she's not 12-year-old Dee anymore, she's, a grown woman sort of Dee at this point now, mentally.
Right.
So that's why she was
Damn, that's a good theory, Nicole.
So that was it. That is all we got, I believe, you guys. It has been a great journey. Fun discussing this show, especially since I remember the trailers came out and I was like, that looks scary, but I want a podcast on it. So, yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Me too.
Not sure what is next up on our line of television or movies, but just make sure you guys stay tuned to the Verdicts In feed because we'll definitely have something eventually to talk about. If not The Walking Dead, whenever that comes back on its own, it comes on its own feed, but we also post it here. We'll probably doing some other stuff, so we'll just have to see what comes out, and we'll be in touch. So until then, I'm Nicole.
I'm Gary.
Bye.